Thank you, Maddie. Good morning. Welcome to Channing Unitarian Universalist Church. We're glad you joined us for worship today. Whoever you are, whatever your spiritual, theological, political, sexual, or racial orientation or gender identity, you are welcome to worship here and become a part of this community. I'm going to gather my thoughts for just a second. Okay, we'll try this again. Well, we're through that part. I know Julie has some announcements today. Does anyone else have any announcements before she goes through her list? Anything from fundraising? Okay. All right, I'm going to trade Maggie with
Good morning, everybody. I have a long list of announcements, so I figured it would be easier to come up here. The first one is a reminder that the Credential Committee is meeting today, 11:30-ish. We'll meet in the office, so if we run late and Quig Creations comes, we won't be in their way. Which leads me to point number 2, Quig Creations. They are the LGBTQ friendly theater group that uses our space for their rehearsals. They are having their holiday extravaganza show on December 17th. It's at a church in Weymouth. I cannot remember the name of it, forgive me. But if anybody would like to attend their show, let me know and I can send you the information so you can buy tickets. And I think it would be great to support them since their presence here has been a boon to us. I will also email out all that information. My next announcement is Craft Night is on Tuesday at 6:30. We'll be back in the RE Hall. Bring your own craft, hang out, make some new friends, and enjoy time with existing friends. It's going to be a good time. Till people leave, usually an hour or two. Then the next announcement I have is this year for our candlelight service. Historically, we have done it on Christmas Eve. This year it will be on December 23rd. That way more people can come because many of us, including Rick and myself, have family obligations that we cannot get out of. So this year's candlelight service will be on Friday, December 23rd. It's going to be part Christmas, part Hanukkah, part winter solstice, just a general celebration of all the holidays around this time of year. Reverend Judy has a whole program planned, but she needs people to volunteer to do readings. This extends not just to Channing members, but our guests as well. If you want to do a reading at our candlelight service, please let me know and I will make sure that you are on the list. One of the readings will be specific to Hanukkah, so if anybody has an interest in that, let me know. Several of the readings are going to be intertwined in the Christmas aspect of things. So just let me know if there's something in particular that you're interested in and we'll find a right fit for you. My final announcement is our kitchen is due for its permit renewal. Oh yes, sorry. What time? 6. Maddie is going to be playing music at 5:30 as people kind of come in and get settled, but service will start at 6. But come at 5:30 so you can hear Maddie. My final one is our kitchen is up for its inspection renewal for our town permit. So if anybody is interested in helping me give it a good scrub before I turn in our paperwork, I would appreciate the help, although it's in a lot better shape than it was last year. But also, the town has tightened their restrictions a little bit, and they are now requiring anybody who cooks in the kitchen has to have a food handler certification. So this doesn't really affect our coffee hour because that's an internal thing. But if we do an external event where we are selling food, we need to comply with the town's regulations. So what we're going to do is I am able to administer the class and the assessment to get the certification. So if anybody is interested in getting the food handler certification so that you can cook for events in the future, please let me know and I'll make sure that I add you to the list and we'll schedule a date and we'll make an event out of it. It'll basically be watching videos and then taking a short quiz, and I can help you as much as I am able. Any questions or concerns or thoughts? Yes. Okay. That's right. Thank you for the reminder. That also reminds me, I had a question for the group about the Christmas candlelight service on the 23rd. I know historically you guys did not do a coffee hour afterwards because everybody kind of had to leave to get home for Christmas Eve things. But since it's on the 23rd, do you want to do a coffee hour afterwards? Yeah? Okay, cool. All right, I'm done now. Thank you.
All right, any other announcements before we turn this over? Okay, then I am pleased to welcome our longstanding guest and friend to the pulpit, Reverend Barbara.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see everybody. I walked in this morning and I saw the beautiful decorations here. I know it's early in the season and it's funny, I'm going to be speaking about taking it easy and not getting caught up too much in festivities and feeling anxious and nervous and all that kind of stuff. But I love the season and it was just lovely to see everything decorated here today. If you don't know, you have a lovely congregation. I welcome all of you today. I encourage you to participate in all of the events that were announced here at the church. I love the idea of the family-friendly New Year's Eve party. We have an AA group that meets at the UU Church in Weymouth, and every year for about 10 years, they've had a Halloween party on just before Halloween. And I remember one church member asked originally, well, do we want people having parties here? And I said, yes, we do want people having parties here. And well, they're not going to be drinking, are they? I said, well, I doubt it because they're AA. So I think they're going to be just fine. And of course they were. And a nice way for people to get together without having to feel that they have to imbibe in something. I love a glass of wine, but I can also do without a glass of wine, which is a lovely thing. So welcome all of you. I know it is the holiday season, and it is what today is the 4th, I do believe. And before we know it, Christmas will be here. I hope all of you have some wonderful things planned during this time. And I hope that the weather cooperates for all of us, which so far it looks as though it will, at least for a little while. And I would like you now to just join with me in a moment of prayer or meditation or, shall we say, and just consider the blessings that we all have in our lives. It is so easy to get caught up in what is wrong in our lives and in this world. And to take just a moment, at least a moment every day, to say thank you, because we are not living in poverty. We are not cold. We are not living with the fear of war. We are so fortunate to be where we are and with whom we are. And we should all consider that and be grateful for that. So let's begin our service with those thoughts in mind. Rick, would you like to do the chalice? Sorry. Yep.
stand as you are willing and able. Join me in reciting the words found in the order of service, the lighting of the chalice. And just so that everyone knows, the order are different today or Advent. Go by memory. In this holiday season, may the darkness of winter be dispelled in this festival of lights. And may the darkness of ignorance be dispelled in the strength of compassion, reason, and sharing. Now please join me as you're willing and able, reciting the affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, the end that all souls shall grow in the harmony with the divine, thus to be covenant with each other and with God. See right into our second Advent candle. So every year we light an Advent wreath for the 4 Sundays leading up to Christmas. As Unitarian Universalists, it's valuable for us to consider and interpret our ancestors. Our UU faith grows from Christian roots. Some UUs identify as Christians, others don't. We also have among us Buddhists and humanists, and there's probably too. UU pagans and UUs who don't see a need for any hyphens or modifiers. Together we grow as we share our insights and struggles in response to our spiritual practice. Last week we lit the candle, first candle for hope. We light that. Today, we will relight the candle and we'll add a candle for peace. You'll find in your order of service and inserts. So I will start. We prepare for a new era of justice and reconciliation, free from violence and coercion. Peace is possible. We give thanks for those who witnessed for a world made whole, with all her people one. We light the candles for
peace. Please be seated. Thank you, Rick. It's so nice to see the Advent calendar lit. Would you join with me now and stand as you are able in singing our opening hymn, one that I love, number 16, "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple." Maddie, are we singing it twice? Yeah, it's so short and it's so nice. And we share by lighting candles of joy, concern, and sometimes both. I know that this time of year can be a very hard time for many people. With all of the festivities, sometimes comes feelings of loneliness, sadness, and sometimes even despair. I hope that by lighting a candle, sharing your thoughts, if your concern is a harsh one, I hope that we can lessen that burden for you. And if it is a joy for which you light a candle, I hope that by sharing that, we can all embrace your happiness as well. Rick?
I'd like to light a candle of concern for a father who had a heart attack in the hospital. He's 82, and so his list of medical issues. And candle also for my mom, his caregiver.
Yes.
I'd like to light a candle for my dear friend and neighbor, Chris Stokes, who fell and broke his arm yesterday. And they're trying to figure out why he fell. He's put in the hospital for 3 or 4 days and trying to spread away. You know Chris as the husband of Reverend Judy.
Candle for Justin.
Yes.
Joy, last week we were all gathered for Thanksgiving. Her-in-law surprised us and had a small wedding ceremony. Very now. Make sure everyone was there.
That's right. Rick, could you light one for me for restored health? For after I had been with you 2 weeks ago, I got a call that afternoon from my daughter, with whom we had spent time the day previous to celebrate my older granddaughter's birthday, her 9th birthday. And my daughter said the other granddaughter had just tested positive for COVID. So of course we tested. I let Rick and Julie know that I had been with all you people, and so hopefully everyone is still good here. We did not get it, neither my husband nor I. Tested again yesterday morning. And luckily my daughter, she got it a week later, but both my granddaughter and my daughter are fine again. But it is still out there. I have known of at least 5 people right now, fully vaccinated, who are suffering from it. So just be careful, be aware, have fun, but just be careful. Thanks.
Want to go along with that. And we'll enjoy how much different we were able to talk about means and all much different. One and grateful. One more for all the joys and concerns that hold in our hearts are not.
Thank you, Rick. And thank you everyone for sharing. I know it helps for me to be able to share whatever is on my mind. And I think it helps for everyone to be able to take just a moment. And when it's something joyful like a wedding, that's lovely. When it's restored health, that's wonderful. When it's a sadness and a worry, I do believe wholeheartedly that it is a lovely thing to be able to share with one another. I think we gain great strength from one another during that time. We'll take a moment now. I want you to relax on, unfortunately, you don't have cushions, but try to snuggle your little butt in there and relax and feel cozy for a moment. Take a few moments to just forget about the hubbub that is out there. And remember that this time, this season, is one in which we can reach for and hopefully achieve an extended period of peace and joy, and to be able to share our love with one another. You certainly have a welcoming atmosphere in which to do that. I hope that your homes are just as welcome. I urge you all to just take a few moments, collect your thoughts, and think about the joys and the wonders of this beautiful and loving season. Would you join with me now in singing hymn number 123, Spirit of Life? Maddie? In a Unitarian Universalist church, not only do we feed our souls and our minds, but we also feed our pocketbook, the church pocketbook. So I ask you now to give freely and lovingly to keep the doors of this very sacred space open for everyone. Please stand as you are able and join us in singing hymn number 403 as we dedicate these gifts. Please be seated. Thank you, Rick. Well, I made it. Now that Thanksgiving is officially past, I and probably all of you can finally breathe a collective sigh of relief. My scarecrows are packed away in the shed, and I've tossed my pumpkins, which were in a very sorry state, into the conservation land across the street, where they will provide some much needed nourishment for various and sundry wildlife over the winter months. My deck furniture is safely stuffed into my screen porch, and my screen porch stuff is covered and piled up high in there as well. The leaves have all been blown off of the grass, and my husband has just about hauled all of them away. I have already bought a few Christmas gifts. I have wrapped those gifts, and I've purchased and sent my holiday cards. In fact, I have even begun to make my famous fudge. I am so in control that I scare myself. Now, let me get down off of my pedestal, take off the rose-colored glasses, and be a little bit more realistic here. In all honesty, my Thanksgiving was not as I had hoped. I just told you about that Sunday right after I was here when I got the call from my daughter that her daughter was testing positive and feeling lousy, and she had COVID. So my daughter and her family were unable to join us for Thanksgiving as was planned, and I had to get more tests at CVS in the event that my husband and I might soon be testing positive for COVID. Neither of us have, and it's been 2 weeks, so we're feeling pretty safe about that. I sent a joint text to both of my sisters on the South Shore to let them know that my little granddaughter had tested positive, and to ask if they would mind staying home for Thanksgiving, because we knew it was not safe to have anyone else there. One sister has a 2-month-old grandson, so she bowed out, of course, immediately. And the other was coming with her middle son, wife, and 2 little children, one of whom had not yet been able to get vaccinated. So they also bowed out. You know what they say about best laid plans of mice and men? Well, it all came true. So my Thanksgiving wasn't all that I had hoped it would be, but then neither was it for anyone in my family. My sister with the 2-month-old grandson got strep throat, so she was home in bed for Thanksgiving by herself. And my sister, who had planned to come to my house, had to scramble and buy food for the dinner that she was now going to have at her place. My husband and I, out of an abundance of caution, of course, stayed home. He cooked, and we watched Love Actually, one of my very favorite movies. I cry and I laugh every single time I hear it. I am not a proponent of swearing, but the English people do such a great job at using some of those terrible words, and somehow it comes out with love, and I don't understand that. But if you've never seen that movie, I encourage you to watch it and be ready to laugh and cry Am I correct? Yes, at all the same time. It is wonderful. All of the food that I had purchased on Sunday before I got the call from my daughter in preparation for my guests, which didn't appear on Thanksgiving, I decided that I could donate to the Weymouth Food Pantry, which actually is located here, I believe, in Rockland. I knew I couldn't use most of it. I offered it to my sister, who by that time had already gone out to buy everything that she would need. So it did my heart, if not my wallet, good to know that I was helping a family who might not have had a good Thanksgiving, except for donations from people like me. The only item that I parted with, sadly, if truth be told, was the pecan pie. I only want it once a year. I confess, I did not do it, I promise you, but I confess that I even toyed with taking a small slice out of it before I donated it. My husband talked me right out of that, said, you cannot do that. And he said, and neither can we keep that pie. So I said, no, you're absolutely correct. So off it went, everything. They were very grateful to receive all that food. They were collecting that day at the First Church in Weymouth Heights. And there were at least 15 cars lined up to get food. So I was thrilled to be able to do that. That was a good thing. My husband and I got to have some vanilla ice cream with butterscotch sauce for our dessert. Now that Thanksgiving is in the rearview mirror and we can now move on to the holiday season, I think it's time to think about elves on the shelves, snowmen, gingerbread houses, presents, trees, garlands, carols, lights, ad infinitum. Each year, we are bombarded with ads and reminders to be excited, to be energetic, to be engaged, to be ever ready to participate in all of the varied festivities that this season has to offer. The implication being that if one does not join in on every possible celebration, that we are somehow missing out on and or cheapening the holidays. But do we have to do it all? A few weeks ago, my husband and I, having seen the sign for months on Route 18 across from the old Stetson Shoe Building, you probably all know where that is, we decided it was time to see for ourselves what we thought it was brand new. It's been open for well over a year. The bird sanctuary was all about. So we parked the car and we proceeded to one of the trails to begin our walk through the woods. I'd smartly put on my sneakers and I thought I was well prepared for a short and simple hike. What I wasn't prepared for on the walk was that the trails were very uneven, covered with not only wet and dry leaves, but also there were rocks and roots and pine needles. It was upon familiar surf 2 years ago that I slipped and broke my left femur. So perhaps a trek in the woods wasn't my best bet. I'd only walked about 100 feet into the sanctuary when I could feel myself becoming anxious and rethinking the wisdom of my journey. Just as I was about to tell my husband that I really thought this wasn't going to work well for me, he turned to me and said, "This is not the walk for you, kid." So he was right, it wasn't. No argument at all. With his hand under my elbow, we picked our way back down the trail, unlocked the car, stopped at Dunkies for some much needed coffee, and we called it a day. Was I a wimp? Maybe. Or maybe just getting smarter in my dotage. Time was when I would have pressed on, challenging myself to complete the task. But why? Why should I risk the possibility of falling on terrain that was so similar to that on which I'd recently experienced a bad fall with a dire outcome? I think I'm beginning to learn my lessons. Been there, done that. That is how I'm beginning to feel about much of the holiday season and many things in general. Last week, someone asked me, wouldn't it be great to go to a Patriots game and sit in the stands? And my immediate thought was, no, it wouldn't. It would be cold and crowded and loud. I would much prefer to sit on my couch a cup of hot chocolate in my hand, some Cheetos at my side, the crunchy ones, you know those? Yes. A bathroom nearby, a big widescreen TV in front of me, all while staying cozy and toasty and safe with my gas stove fireplace roaring in the corner. That is what would be great at this stage of the game. That said, I admit that my calendar is beginning to fill up a bit. I already have plans to go see Matilda down at the Company Theater. A friend of mine's daughter is playing the mean principal at the school, if you know the story. And there was a wonderful review in the Ledger the other night and said the show was great. She was awesome. So if you get a chance to go, it's just going to be a lot of fun. Family Christmas party yesterday down at Pine Hills, 74 people in attendance, more children, I think, than adults, most of them under the age of 8. So it was mayhem. My brother-in-law's band played. We had a blast. Santa showed up. We all tested yesterday morning. Everyone was told to take a COVID test. Everyone was so proud of themselves to say as they walked through the door, we're all negative. We're all negative. So that was a wonderful thing. We're hoping that no one was by mistake positive and that we have bad things come from that. But everyone seemed to be healthy. So we're hoping. I have dinner with friends planned for next week. I'm hoping to get to Edaville Railroad. If you haven't been there, nothing but fun. Get to go out on that train. It's a lovely thing. It's the coldest place in the world by the bogs, but it's always fun. And it is delightful to see kids enjoying that fun. We have plans to go next Sunday, I think it is, to the U.S. Coast Guard Band. They're having a Christmas concert, Heart of Weymouth 400, and that's at the high school. If you're not a Weymouth resident, I don't know if anyone here is, you can't go. So it's very selective and it's free for Weymouth residents. And then we too will have our yearly candlelight service on the 23rd, as we have for many, many years for exactly the same reasons that you have yours now on the 23rd. It's to allow people to go to that and then spend Christmas Eve with their loved ones, other than you love them. Yes. And in between, I will shop and I will clean and I will wrap and I will decorate. I will bake Christmas cookies and fudge, and I will bring my famous Christmas tort on Christmas Eve to my sister's family gathering. I will do many of the things that make this season special, but I will not do everything. I am finally comfortable with not doing everything. What is best about it is that I no longer want to do it all. I am content to be on the sidelines sometimes, to be in the role of the observer rather than as a participant. Chalk it up to age, but I no longer feel that I must do it all. I have done the Nutcracker and the lighting of the Christmas tree on Boston Common. I've seen the Rockettes in Boston, not in New York, and I am so envious of their long and beautiful legs. I've had the 20-foot Christmas tree in our family room, and I have hosted innumerable tree trimming parties. Don't get me wrong, it is not that I do not do Christmassy things. I do. It's just that I feel less and less compelled to throw myself into all of the hype that envelops the season. In this crazy, vibrant, and dangerous world in which we live, it is so easy to get overwhelmed, to feel inadequate, and to feel small. Too many of us feel that we just do not measure up. Social media screams that in order to matter, we must be younger, smarter, sexier, prettier, busier, and richer. What value do we have if our lives are not constantly plastered all over Facebook and Twitter and TikTok? Do we count at all if we are not keeping up with the Kardashians? What if our Christmas decorations cannot compete with the neighbors? How can we achieve happiness if we have to choose between paying skyrocketing electric and gas bills, and purchasing diamonds and iPhones and jewelries, and yes, even cars this season. I urge all of us to give ourselves a break, to cut ourselves some slack, to ease up on those absurd expectations that we place upon ourselves. No one can do it all, nor should we. With headlines screaming at us about multiple mass shootings, destruction in Ukraine, famine in Africa, unrest in the Middle East and China, and mayhem at the nearby derby shops, keeping our sanity and sanctity about us is a daily, sometimes hourly challenge. Surely we need some peace, some serenity, some salvation. According to writer Ben Daniels, the best kind of presents are the following. The priceless gifts of Christmas are not the ones wrapped or placed under the tree, but the gifts we give when we give ourselves. It is the love we share. It is the comfort we lend at times of need. It is the moments that we spend together, helping each other to follow our dreams. The most priceless gifts of Christmas are the understanding and caring that come from our hearts. And each and every one of us has these gifts to offer through the gift of ourselves. No doubt, to prepare for the holiday season ahead, we will all feel the influence of the media as we strive to create the very best memories, the very best opportunities. If you are like me, you will feel the urge to attend every party and festive celebration, to not disappoint or be left out. We want to find the best gift, to make the best cookies, to have the best decorations. But at what expense to our pocketbooks, our psyches, our very essence? I think Ben Daniels' advice is very sound. The most priceless gifts we can offer are the understanding and care that come from our hearts. We do not need to do it all, or buy it all, or see it all to have a worthwhile holiday season. We just need to present our best selves as we do only what we wish to do, when and with whom we wish to do it. We do not need to prove that we are superhuman, because we are not. We are all simply human, flawed, and yet somehow completely perfect, worthy of enjoying and rejoicing in all that life has to offer. Joy is not there just for the rich, the flamboyant, the famous. As we venture into the deep of this musical season and magical one, joy can and often is found in the tranquility of simpler days and calmer nights, where decency and humanity abound. I'll probably see all of you at Coles. Amen. Would you join with me now in our closing hymn, number 352, Find a Stillness.